Support comes from Soul Food Cypher, a community-driven freestyle rap experience and educational platform. Visit soulfoodcypher.com to learn about their live ciphers, workshops, and performances across Atlanta and beyond. Join the movement and step into the circle.
Welcome to the ATL Arts Collective, powered by ArtsATL. Think of this as your weekly invitation into Atlanta's creative community. I'm Kim Drobes. Normally I'm joined by a featured guest contributor, and next week you're in for a treat as Julian Gonzalez Diaz of Fresh Hugo will be with us. But today it's just you and me and a best of show highlighting our art and the World Cup features. We're at the midway point of Atlanta welcoming the world for FIFA, and there is still so much artistic celebration going on. Coming up, we'll learn about the Atlanta Cultural Exchange, the series of activations on the 8th floor of the CTR presented by the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. These activations started last month and continue to happen the day before Atlanta FIFA games. Then later in the show, ArtsATL executive editor Shane Harrison will join us with his best bets for the July 4th weekend. We'll visit the Carlos Museum for the exhibition Footwork, Where We Gather. And we'll close today with ArtsATL senior editor Isadora Pennington's interview with Nick Turbo Benson about his Waffle House mural. But first, in preparation for the World Cup, the Atlanta Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs and Downtown Atlanta, Inc. commissioned a combined total of 21 murals. Arthur Rudick, the creator of Atlanta's Street Art Map and a regular contributor to ArtsATL, recently spoke with some of the artists behind the new work, and he brings us this story.
To put things into perspective, there are 8.3 billion people on the planet, and on July 17th, 1.6 billion of them will be watching the World Cup's final match. This is a big deal, even though Atlanta is only one of the 16 North American host cities. The World Cup is still the biggest international event to come to Atlanta since the 1996 Olympics. So, how can our city look its best for the estimated 500,000 visitors who will come to Atlanta? And how can we tell them our story? A great way to accomplish both is through murals by local artists. The Atlanta Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs is sponsoring 17 murals, and Downtown Atlanta is sponsoring 4 murals. Both organizations are taking the long view of the project. These artworks are not just window dressing for a one-month event. Just like the Olympic Stadium became Turner Field after the Olympics, these murals will become part of Atlanta's permanent infrastructure after the World Cup. As part of my process of documenting Atlanta's murals, I visited many of the walls while work was in progress, and I asked the artists to tell me about their World Cup projects. Charity Hamidullah got her start in the art world as a tattoo artist. This spring, on Windsor Street, just south of I-20, Hamidullah painted Atlanta's largest commissioned mural. We're talking 10,000 square feet, 400 feet in length, and 108 colors. I caught up with Hamidullah in Mechanicsville as she came down from the lift.
So this piece is called Wild Seed, Wild Flower. And I wanted to take that idea that this is about love, it's about community, about support, and planting the seeds of that for tomorrow and our future. So throughout the image, I wanted to draw and illustrate larger-than-life people. They're carrying out these acts of kindness and act of love, just setting the intentions for our future.
She went on to explain that she wants visitors to be filled with joy when viewing this mural.
I want them to remember all the kind things that have been done to them or that they have placed upon others. And I want them to be inspired to be more kind, be more loving, and show up for one another.
Hamidullah's mural was a collaboration with Living Walls, and it was inspired by Octavia Butler's novel, Wild Seed. Mel Brooks, also known as Black Cat Tips, describes himself as a street folk artist from way down in the American South. Brooks is refreshing an existing mural of his on Trinity Avenue at Broad Street titled Sidewalk Circus. Sitting on a 5-gallon Lowe's bucket as an impromptu stool, he took a break to share the mural's origin story.
Well, originally this mural was based on some sculptures I saw in Bogota, Colombia, and that gave me the idea to draw each kind of sculpture and maybe the insides of the sculpture, and then it's all mixed together with kind of like the spirit of a circus. All the colors remind me of a circus. And also there was an original mural on the side here. We don't know who did it, but they said paint stuff around it that's kind of like you but similar. So that's what we did. So my brain and some sculptures and a circus.
In addition to murals, Brooks paints on canvas, writes poetry, and creates sculptures from found objects. Former Girl Scout Melissa Mitchell produced her mural in collaboration with the Atlanta Girl Scouts. In fact, over 100 Girl Scouts helped to paint the mural. This work on 17th Street at Bishop Street is around a quarter-mile long. I caught up with the artist in a nearby restaurant as she was designing the flags for the mural on her laptop. When we spoke, she hadn't yet named the mural, which she explained is all about connectivity.
Being a Girl Scout as a child and now being the girl that other Girl Scouts can look to, and not just from a Scout perspective, but as a woman, a Black woman, a short woman, all the things, but allowing me to take my art off of just gallery walls and bring the art to where people are. And so now it shows the movement of artwork. It shows the movement of culture. Such a moment where Atlanta is on a global stage. I think that in itself makes my heart beat a little fast, because I always said that if I were here during the 1996 Olympics, what would be my mark on society? And so this is not just a moment for the city, it's a moment for the world. And the world is my stage.
She went on to describe how the mural connects to the World Cup.
Not only will we have soccer balls on the wall, we'll have countries being represented from every flag, and then we'll have the Girl Scouts trayful on there too. And then what you'll see, one of my subtle ways to connect everyone that's involved is to have a white bouncing line and a small green stripe, and it talks about how Girl Scouts is what connected me to all these different parts of the world and how it prepared me for greater things that are coming. And so the city of Atlanta influences everything, but also Girl Scouts does too.
Mitchell had a lot of help on this mural. It was a true community effort.
They actually had 100 young ladies come paint with me 2 Sundays ago. So their efforts are all over the wall too. So it really has become a community mural. We have people walking off the street saying, "Hey, are y'all painting a mural?" We're like, "Yeah." And literally we've given brushes to strangers and they walk away with, "How can I come back and help?" And so this is bigger than the Melissa Mitchell mural. I've helped all my friends get back just ignited about projects. And so I'm just excited to see art just take a different flight for FIFA and being just a part of history in a beautiful way.
The mural was eventually titled Trefoil Trail. And if you'd like to see more of Mitchell's work, she has another mural a block west on 17th Street. It's an abstract pattern in Mitchell's favorite colors, which she says is all of them. For the ATL Arts Collective, I'm Art Rudick.
You can read Arthur's full story at artsatl.org. The Atlanta Cultural Exchange, our city's creative hub and cultural platform during the FIFA World Cup, has been activating the 8th floor of the CTR since FIFA kicked off in mid-June. Previously, I caught up with Adrian Jefferson, the executive director of the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs, to learn more about the intention behind the exchange.
We really wanted to make sure, as the world comes here, right, how do we put Atlanta culture front and center on the global stage and make sure that as the world is here, they're experiencing the authentic Atlanta culture of all different types of artists and creatives. And we said, well, what better way to do that than to put all of it in one place at one time for the world to experience and for Atlanta artists to be on the global platform and benefit from that. So that's really the intention behind it. What this is an 8-day activation that is going to happen over a period of 1 month. So it starts June 14th, which is the day before the first match. And it's going to happen the day before each match at the old CNN building on the 8th floor, which is now called the CTR. And what the CTR is doing in that building is also really incredible because it's really like culturally led. So it's already a home for creatives. So we felt like it was an alignment to be on the 8th floor to have our activation. So we'll be in a little over 23,000 square footage of space with different zones. So there's going to be an exhibition zone. There's going to be a performance zone. There's going to be a village marketplace where people can sell their products. There's going to be a music lounge zone for DJing and music listening parties. So we kind of have some of everything. We wanted to make this a multidisciplinary, multi-hyphenate opportunity for all artists across Atlanta, including our international partners who will be here from the different countries during World Cup. So with that said, we have a few things we're doing. The first 4 days out of the 8 days are pretty much commissioned by my office and hand selected with like the different type of partnerships we wanted to see in the space. But the other 4 days is our grantees. So we did an open call to the community. We received close to 400 applications, and it'll be about 250 artists total that will be able to be in the space over the 8 days.
You mentioned that if your work isn't changing people's lives, you don't want to be a part of it, right? I've heard this quoted from you. So when you look back at the Atlanta Cultural Exchange years from now, what would success look like?
I did say that, and I do say that about transformative work and just wanting to make sure we don't miss the mark. I don't want to miss the mark. I want to make sure that people are transformed through anything that I'm able to do to serve. But also beyond that, like I think about infrastructure. When we look back, 10 years from now, I believe that things that are the most impactful are the things that are sustained. I don't believe in one-offs. I really don't. I believe in intentional and continual investment. And what that looks like is increased resources, right? And so whether that's money, which of course capital is really important. I think that's physical infrastructure. So like what we need is permanent infrastructure, permanent facility space to continue to have for artists and creatives to operate for the long run. I think also of like educational resources and investment so people can grow and scale so that now what we're putting in place is not just about the generation right now, it's literally about the generations to come. And this infrastructure will be there in place to support them by the time that they're here and activating as creatives, right? That to me is what success looks like. It is long-term change and investment in ways that is measurable.
Adrienne Jefferson, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
It's time now for ArtsATL's Best Bets with Executive Editor Shane Harrison. This week, his mix includes a group exhibition at the Sun ATL, a revisit of Basura, and some suggestions for fireworks on the 4th.
The arts used to be practically dormant in the summer months. That's no longer the case. Like the school year, theater, dance, and classical music have slowly crept into June and August. July, however, remains a bit of a dead zone, especially when the fireworks of July 4th take center stage. So here we are with the 4th of July weekend and a celebration of the nation's 250th birthday at that. If it's fireworks you're after, there are plenty of opportunities around town, including the City of Marietta's 4th in the Park celebration, which offers a full day of activities on July 4th, including a parade, free live concerts, an arts and crafts show, food, carnival games, and a fireworks finale. Over at Stone Mountain, they'll have their fantastic 4th celebration from July 1st through July 6th. And there are plenty more opportunities to experience fireworks all around Metro Atlanta. Check the official city websites for local celebrations. While there aren't many theatrical or visual arts openings this weekend, it's a good time to catch up on some of the ongoing events you may have missed. The world premiere musical Basura at Alliance Theater continues through July 12th, though there's no show on July 4th. The musical comes from multiple Grammy Award winner Gloria Estefan, who joined forces with her singer-songwriter daughter Emily to write the music and lyrics. It's the true story of Paraguay's recycled orchestra, which turned unorthodox objects, empty paint cans, a fork, a bent license plate, into instruments to create music. In ArtsATL's review, Luke Evans writes that as a story about the importance of community and collective joy, and more importantly about finding the beauty within the imperfect, Basura definitely hits the right notes. In the realm of visual arts, don't miss the Sun ATL's This Is Atlanta, a group exhibition running through July 25th at 399 Edgewood Avenue Southeast in the historic Old Fourth Ward. The show includes Rafael Bahinda's The Beautiful Game, his installation of paintings on round canvases, each depicting a World Cup match ball from a different tournament, transforms a global icon into a celebration of football's history and universal language. You can also see his work at the Rialto Center for the Arts through July 16th. This Is Atlanta also includes a new work by Vivian Hughes, photographs of iconic Atlantans, works by recent Georgia State University graduates, and an entire floor devoted to artists born in, based in, or shaped by the American South. It includes paintings by Purvis Young, a visionary self-taught social expressionist whose work documents the struggles and resilience of the African American experience, alongside works by Panorama Ray Herbert, the photographer and outsider artist often called the Mayor of Cabbagetown. You'll also see works by Ruth Franklin, Harry Underwood, and Anna Jensen, and prints by Howard Fenster. Through Our Eyes, produced by Atlanta lens-based artist Sheila Pree Bright in collaboration with One Contemporary Gallery and sponsored by Leica Camera USA, was born from the energy and anticipation surrounding the FIFA World Cup's arrival in Atlanta. The exhibition features Sheila Pree Bright's new series, Where We Gather, an exploration of sports fan culture, alongside works by 3 women photographers selected by Bright, Nicole Crane, Julie Yarborough, and Isa Lopez. It will be on view through July 26th. And finally, the Terra Theater will host a couple of special 85th anniversary screenings of Orson Welles' innovative 1941 classic Citizen Kane. Controversial in its day, the film is now widely acknowledged as one of the greatest ever made. See it on July 5th and July 8th, when it also screens at several AMC and Regal theaters around Metro Atlanta. For the ATL Arts Collective and ArtsATL, I'm Shane Harrison.
Shane curates an even longer list each week, and you can find all of his picks at artsatl.org. Shane mentioned Through Our Eyes, the exhibition produced by Atlanta lens-based artist Sheila Pree Bright, on view now at One Contemporary Gallery. But that's not the only way to catch up on Bright's work. Her exhibition, Footwork, Where We Gather, on view at the Michael C. Carlos Museum, continues through July 19th. This is part of Emory's broader Footwork initiative, which features exhibitions that celebrate sport, style, and the spirit of a city ready to welcome the world. I visited the campus last month to see Bright's exhibition and to learn more about the university's fancy footwork. Bright's exhibition celebrates Atlanta sports culture and the communities created by the fans. It's an interesting topic for the lens-based artist to explore, considering she's not a sports fan herself, but she explains that she comes from a family of fans.
I always wonder why were they so excited about this.
Now, after spending time with the communities deeply embedded in sports culture, she sees sports as a vital way to connect people.
I really do believe right now, because the world is going through a change, I think this is reshaping us to get closer together and to connect.
The work she's created for the exhibition drips with joy. Each photograph portrays people celebrating their connection as fans. Andy McKenzie is the curator of Works on Paper for the Michael C. Carlos Museum, and she's worked with Bright before.
Incredible photographer. She has great talent and very little fear. No fear, really.
Mackenzie, who identifies as a lifelong sports fan, explained that since Bright isn't a fan, it was an interesting journey for both of them.
Her first time out shot some of, I think, the most compelling images in the exhibition, having never shot fans, never taken photographs of sports.
The result was hundreds of photographs.
Whittling that down to something that would fit in the Works on Paper gallery was pretty difficult. So she wants to maybe do a book for the series. And so I think, all these other photos will get their day as well.
This past Sunday, Mackenzie moderated a panel about sports and community with Bright alongside Soccer in the Streets' Francisco Stenger and Atlanta Influences Everything co-founder Bame Joyner. Stenger's organization believes that every child, regardless of their economic background, should have access to the sport and the vital life skills it teaches. Their approach includes building soccer fields at MARTA transit stations, making the sport accessible to communities that need it most.
You always want to make sure that the kids and youth that we engage with have a space where they can feel not only comfortable playing, but also comfortable getting to know each other, getting to know a coach, finding trust in an adult mentor. And that's something that we value as an organization because we know the importance that some of us adults may forget when it comes to really having fun, finding joy, and just taking some time to play. It's sort of our secret sauce.
There does seem to be something about soccer that brings people together. Joyner says that although soccer fandom wasn't a thing when he was in high school, he's seen a shift among the current generation. He believes that young people are at the forefront of Atlanta's soccer craze.
We're allowing our kids to lead us to soccer, and it's all under the guise of everybody still being their best Atlanta self. It's just a different sport, and it's bringing families together.
The panelists went on to elaborate on community, fandom, gathering spaces, and identity, all of which are captured beautifully in Bright's work. Footwork, Where We Gather, is on view at the Michael C. Carlos Museum through July 19th. And if you're a fan of Bright's, be sure to check out Through Our Eyes, a visual photographic journey, opening at One Contemporary Gallery tomorrow. Bright is producing and curating the collaborative exhibition, which centers on perspectives from communities rarely reflected in global media narratives. Don't miss it. Artist Nick Turbo Benson has created a World Cup mural that incorporates one of Georgia's most well-known institutions, Waffle House. ArtsATL senior editor Isadora Pennington recently caught up with Benson to learn more.
Hi, Nick. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today about your recent mural, ATL Nighthawks at the Diner. It's a really impressive piece.
I'm glad you like it, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So for those who haven't seen it, this is a mural that has reprised a classic work by Edward Hopper called Nighthawks, which pictures a scene through the windows of a diner. And this time you've repurposed it through the windows of a Waffle House at night. There's also a nod to a Norman Rockwell piece called The Runaway. The mural is painted in vibrant reds, oranges, and yellows, and it captures the essence and culture of Waffle House, and I think thereby also captures the essence of Atlanta culture.
Yeah, that was the goal. I have always been a fan of Edward Hopper, and specifically that piece, Nighthawks. And when Hopper painted it, he said he was subconsciously depicting the loneliness of living in a big city. And I wanted to take that idea, same setting, same subject matter, but flip it and make it more about energy and connection in a big city.
There's some really cool stories that you tell with all these vignettes of different characters, including Outcast and you yourself as a current present day working adult artist and young you, right?
Absolutely. I wanted to include Outcast because they're so emblematic of Atlanta, and I wanted the mural to feel like both an encapsulation of Waffle House, but in doing so, the city as well. But I didn't want it to feel too much like a Spot the Celebrity kind of mural. So if you maybe didn't recognize Outcast, they could just be two pals hanging out at the diner.
Really cool. Did you have the design idea and then you got the wall, or did you get the wall and then you came up with the design?
So Atlanta Downtown approached me, and they actually had the concept of doing a spin on Nighthawks, which I absolutely loved because I love Edward Hopper. So it was right up my alley. So many of the elements of the mural were really just things I was already into. So it was kind of a dream come true project to get to put my spin on the subject matter, and really gave me this sandbox to play around in and add all these fun elements to it. It's not really based on any one Waffle House, but it's sort of everybody's idea of what Waffle House should look like. And Waffle House is one of those places that I feel like everybody has their ritual and their own way of doing it, whether they go late at night or early in the morning. But it kind of feels like the great equalizer where people from all walks of life pass through at some point. And it's one of those places where you can like strike up a conversation with the booth next to you and it's not going to be weird. That's really the vibe I was going for. Just showing the whole city, but in this one little space.
That leads me into another question, which is, what is your personal relationship to Waffle House? And also, what's your favorite order?
I have the whole spectrum of Waffle House experiences. I have the wholesome childhood memories of going with my dad on the weekends when I was a kid. And then I have the college drunken late nights at Waffle House. But my order pretty much is always the same, where I get a waffle and then hash browns covered, smothered, chunked, and topped. And that kind of gives me the whole experience that I need.
So that's been a constant. It's been a kind of a constant presence in your life.
Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes I'll go through phases where I go more than others, but Waffle House has kind of always been there. And I think that's true for a lot of people.
It's also like a cultural institution. And it's one of those places where we joke that when you're looking at storms in the Southeast, you see if the Waffle Houses are still open. That's kind of your metric for how bad the weather is, right?
Right. It's a good litmus test for what's going on in the rest of the world. How's the Waffle House doing?
I love that. Do you have one that you go to more than others?
I'm closest now to the Avondale one where I live, which is right across the street from the Waffle House Museum. It was pretty cool. In preparation for the mural, the folks from Waffle House took me on like a personal tour of the museum over there. And I got to take a lot of photo reference of the old 1950s style Waffle House setup. Like a lot of the elements that are in the mural are from that museum, like the old timey jukebox is there from the museum, and the old school chrome stools. I wanted the mural to feel very ambiguous in its time period. So I liked pulling a lot of the more antique elements and putting that in the composition.
You can see that through line of like, it gives you that nostalgia, right? Which I feel like nostalgia is a big part of this concept, this mural.
It is. Yeah, I wanted it to feel both nostalgic, but also current and modern at the same time. So people could hopefully see things they recognize from their past, or that they might see if they walked inside a Waffle House today, like downtown where the mural is.
Is this the first time you've put yourself into one of your murals?
It is. Yeah. You know, I think the only self-portraits I've done have been very like academic, like look at yourself in the mirror and draw it. But so going back to the Rockwell inspiration, I took one of my favorite pieces of his, The Runaway, where there's a kid sitting at a diner counter next to this cop character. And I inserted myself in, speaking to my younger self there. It was interesting doing a self-portrait, but it didn't make me nervous like other parts of the mural, because if I messed up the likeness on myself, it doesn't really matter. Nobody knows or really cares that much what I looked like. But when I was painting Big Boy and Andre, the pressure was really on in that section to make sure I got the likenesses correct. So the self-portrait was a little bit of a warm-up for that Outcast section.
And when you did the two portraits of yourself, of present day and when you were little, that kind of does that same thing of present day and nostalgia mixing together.
Exactly, yeah. The whole thing sort of has a line of past and present going on, and including the self-portrait section with me communing with my younger self, maybe saying like, hey, look, we're on the side of a Waffle House. Look where we are now. I don't know.
I love that. Do you think young you would be proud?
I think so. I think he would be a little frustrated that there weren't more like aliens and dinosaurs in the mural, which is part of why I gave him a little Godzilla toy.
You got to throw those Easter eggs in, right?
Exactly. A lot of my interests got to find its way into the mural, including Godzilla.
So you have a couple of Easter eggs where people might, at a first glance, miss a couple of the references. So can you tell me about any of your favorite Easter eggs that you've hidden in the mural?
Totally. I think part of the fun of this mural is to just look at it and find them yourselves. But I'll tell you, my favorite little Easter egg is Andre is stacking these creamer cups 3 high, which is a nod to his nickname, 3 Stacks. And he's also, as he's kind of poking them, throwing a subtle A-Town down sign with his hands. So a few little things like that I think are really fun.
Well, I love this piece. I think it's really cool to see this evolution of your style and the references that you have both to Outcast, to Waffle House culture, and to your own personal story are really special. So I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us at ATL Arts Collective about your new design. And I hope that everyone who's listening has a chance to go check it out this summer.
I really appreciate it. It's been great talking to you too. And I'm glad you like the mural.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Isadora.
That's it for today's show. We hope you're enjoying the FIFA World Cup and the massive amount of art our city has on display. We'll be back next week with a brand new show and our featured guest contributor, Julian Gonzalez Diaz. Thank you for listening. I'm Kim Drobes, and this is the ATL Arts Collective.
Hey y'all, I'm Naja Parker, co-host of the It's You ATL podcast, powered by the AJC.
Hey y'all.
Hello.
Ooh, twins.
Twins. Where we break down the stories, trends, and conversations shaping Black culture in Atlanta and across the South. From music and entertainment to politics, relationships, and community issues, if it's happening in the culture, we're talking about it. Listen to It's You ATL wherever you get your podcast.